episode 99 continues with, once again, an episode of the Smackdown Rundown.
Smackdown Rundown!
Still dealing with some fallout from this past Sunday's WWE Payback.
Damn!
Let's talk about the matches, shall we?
Yeah, what matches happened?
We had Sami Zayn defeat The Miz.
Good.
We had the Vaudevillains defeat the Social Outcasts.
Alright.
We had Natty and Becky Lynch defeat Emma and Charlotte.
Woo!
We had Rusev defeat Zack Ryder.
Oh.
We had the Bullet Club defeat the Usos.
Yay!
And then we had the Samoan Dynasty defeat the Bullet Club.
Well, I guess that happened.
Yeah. We open up with the return
Or
of
the Good Brothers.
Yeah, the Good Brothers. We open up with the return of the highlight reel with the special guest Sami Zayn. Chris Jericho getting very
accusatory.
Yeah, there you go. That was
vocab.
Not a word I was going to say, but I appreciate your input there.
You're just gonna say like asshole-y?
No, I
Dickish?
I don't know what word I was going to go with, but he starts asking Sami Zayn what makes him think that he deserves to be in this Intercontinental title situation. Why does he deserve a shot? He lost to Kevin Owens at Payback,
Which is true, he did.
And he's like, yeah, I did, but then Kevin Owens slapped me in the face and threw me out of the ring after the match. So you do something like that, I tend to not go away very easy. And then, The Miz comes out, he has something to say. He's like, hey, I'm the only one that deserves to be Intercontinental Champion. You shouldn't be touching the belt. And then Sammy's like, I'm going to touch your belt. I'm touching your belt. You don't like this? I'm touching your belt.
Meanwhile, Jericho is just getting more and more irked because his show is being usurped by Sami Zayn and The Miz, who already has his own show.
And The Miz wasn't even a guest on the show. He just kind of showed up. Because he wanted to get in Sammy's face. So yeah, Jericho is just like, well, screw this. If you guys are going to try and take over my show, do it yourself. I'm going to leave. And Jericho walks away.
And they did.
And that was after Sammy made fun of the fact that he spent $15,000 to look like a walking Christmas tree. And then Sammy's like, well, you have a problem with me, I have a problem with you, we're both here, so let's have a match.
And it happens. We cut to commercial and we come back and there's a match happening.
And we had a match. Good match. Right. Miz, I appreciate the chemistry he has with the people he's been facing off with lately. Him and Sammy working well together. About halfway through the match, Kevin Owens makes his way down to ringside. Decides he's gonna take a closer look at Sami Zayn.
Join commentary.
And eventually, fighting on the outside, Sammy and Kevin kind of like getting in each other's face every now and again. And Kevin Owens decides that, he's just going to take advantage of the moment, and he attacks Sami Zayn in the ring. Miz decides, this is a good idea to start doing this myself. We get a 2-on-1 beatdown for a second until Cesaro comes out and makes that shit stop right away.
Yeah. First time I've ever seen a guy sprint and tear clothes off at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's pretty impressive. Cesaro.
It's like if Chippendales were the Olympics.
Kevin Owens.
You ever seen somebody with tearaway pants do a 40-yard dash? Watch SmackDown.
Kevin Owens gets tossed out of the ring. Miz ends up escaping from the Cesaro swing once again, even though Cesaro pulled not only the Miz back towards him, but Maurice into the ring as well. They both scoot the hell out of there. Sami Zayn's knocked down, and we get Cesaro doing what we've had both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn do, holding the Intercontinental title above his head. So we're really building this Fatal 4.
Next week, it's going to be Maurice.
I hope so. We had AJ talking to Gallows and Anderson. Anderson saying, hey, we gave you a clean shot at Roman Reigns on Monday, and you didn't take it. You're gonna have to go to that place if you plan on beating him at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, they're throwing around the phrase extreme a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're really beating the hammer to the fact that Extreme Rules is the upcoming pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. AJ says that he will win the championship his way, but he plans on going to have a conversation with Roman Reigns later in the show. And that was pretty much just to say, hey, you didn't have to powerbomb me through the table on Monday. I could have knocked your head off with a chair, and I didn't. Roman's like, well, I don't even remember what Roman said. But AJ's like, if you're going to be out in your cousin's corner for the main event, which is the Usos versus the Bullet Club, then I'm going to be out there as well. So, setting that up.
Yeah, which is funny because like Roman never gave him a definitive answer whether he was going to be out there.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, are you going to be out there? And Roman's like, well, I am the champion, and these are my family. I can be wherever I want to be.
Yeah. AJ, and apparently that clicked to AJ. Oh yeah, he's going to be out there.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Maybe it's just like he wasn't going to be out there until I said something. Fucking in his head.
It's definitely going to be there.
I am in his head.
We had a tag team match with the Vaudevillains taking on the Social Outcast Mad Happy Connection, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. Curtis Axel getting his ass handed to him by the Vaudevillains. He had no chance in hell. Bo Dallas getting a tag in and actually having some pretty good offense for a second. Didn't last too long though, because the Vaudevillains would get the momentum back into their advantage. I don't know what I'm trying to say. And they would hit the Whirling Dervish on Bo Dallas. Or no, did Curtis actually? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that happened. And then Big Cass had a few words for the Vaudevillains.
Basically reiterated how soft they are.
Yes. Yeah, he made a Sherlock reference. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a twirly mustache.
Yeah, it could be.
Is that it? Maybe. But he ended up beating the crap out of both the Vaudevillains by himself. And then Curtis Axel gets back in. He's like, yeah, you're soft. You're soft. You like that, huh? Oh, yeah, they're soft. And then Cass is like, no. And then hits the East River Crossing on Curtis Axel. And Bo Dallas disappeared.
Yeah, well, he took the Whirling Dervish.
Oh, that's true. He was down and out. We go into another tag team match. This is the women's division. We have Natty teaming up with Becky Lynch to take on Emma and Charlotte. I like this match a lot.
Yeah, the excellence of execution versus...
the Evil Queens.
Yeah.
I just came up with that.
Blonde bitches.
Blonde bitches.
Including Ric Flair is at ringside.
The blondest bitch of them all.
Yeah.
Both sets of ladies had really good chemistry as far as tag teams go, which this is the first time I've seen Emma and Charlotte really team up.
Yeah.
I think they might have teamed up in like an eight women tag team match or something like that. But yeah, they had really good heel chemistry together. Becky and Natty work really well together as well.
Yeah, I liked the amount of not necessarily like double team moves, but how efficiently the teams were using the 5 count.
Yes.
While they were transitioning from having one person leave to one person coming in.
Yeah. And it worked so well. You know, you never had Natty and Becky really go over their time. They stayed very they stayed very fair with the way they used it, and it was obviously being abused by Emma and Charlotte. This actually backfired on Emma and Charlotte at one point. Charlotte had her foot up on the turnbuckle, and Natty was going to get her face thrown into her boot, but she was able to switch it up and actually throw Emma into the boot. She went to try and tag Becky. Emma stops her. She hits an enziguri on Emma. Then we get the double tag. Then Becky comes in, House of Fire, taking both ladies out.
Becky with the good hair.
Yes.
She was en fuego. Means on fire.
That hair, man. She always looks like she's on fire. And she's really amped up lately. She's been screaming a lot in matches, which is all right.
She's a screamer.
Eventually, Becky tags Natty back in. Becky's able to keep Charlotte on the outside of the ring, allowing Natty to put the sharpshooter on Emma and making her tap out. Charlotte does not like this because she's starting to see the advantage in Natty's side heading into their submission match at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, and it's a little scary for her knowing that her pops ain't gonna be at ringside.
It's true. I want you to talk about this next part. Because...
Darren Young part?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because
We're going to make Darren Young great again.
Yeah. I don't have words for this segment, so...
Darren Young, looking for a life coach. So, he's going to pick Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund is former, I want to say 3-time WWE champion.
Sounds right. Fact check.
Yeah, fact check for me. He's in amazing shape considering how old he is.
That's true, but he's insane.
And he is absolutely insane. So he asks Bob Backlund to be the life coach, and Bob Backlund accepts, despite having no prior history of life coaching. And he says he's going to be a wrestling coach. Darren Young says, no, I need a life coach. And Bob Backlund says, well, yeah, that's the whole deal, is that wrestling is life. So I think it's going to be really beneficial to see...
Two-time WWF champion.
Two-time WWF champion, okay.
One-time WWF Tag Team champion.
There you go.
With Pedro Morales.
That's what I was thinking. He's champion 3 times.
Yeah.
It's going to be good to see more of Darren Young on TV.
But is it going to be good to see more of Bob Backlund?
I'm going to be honest. I like Bob Backlund. I think he's funny. Despite the fact that he's insane, I think he's very funny. And it's going to be good, especially if he takes on an active role on TV, like being there in person. Because this was obviously like pre-filmed somewhere.
They were not in the same room together.
Yeah, it was very infomercial-esque, I think, actually.
Yeah.
The way it felt watching it.
It was very campaigny.
But if he starts to accompany Darren Young to matches,
that'd be really...
Yeah, but I think it'd be really good for the roster to have Bob Backlund as another source they can tap to for information.
That's true.
Having another, long ago established veteran.
Especially with the fact that there's very few of them. Most of the ones we have are agents.
Yeah. And
I can't imagine they have too much downtime having to, go back and forth and talking about matches and all that stuff. I mean, you got Dean Malenko back there. You got Terry Taylor back there. You've got
they have a lot of talents in the back who transitioned to that behind the scenes stage. Dean Malenko, you're saying Dean Malenko, Terry Taylor, they've got Finlay, they've got Brian James, aka Road Dogg, Billy Kidman. I think the one big difference here is that none of these guys ever made it to the top.
True.
Bob Backlund held the WWF Championship on 2 separate occasions, 20 years apart.
That's
he
true.
He came and he toppled the mountain in 2 different eras of wrestling.
Yeah.
He did it in the 70s, I think.
Yeah, the WWF.
Yeah, back when, everything was pre-Hulkamania era.
Yeah.
Bob Backlund lost it to the Iron Sheik, which, Hogan beating Iron Sheik was what created Hulkamania.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, Bob Backlund was the last big deal champion prior to Hulkamania starting.
Wow.
And then it wasn't until 1994 or 95 that Bob Backlund won the championship again.
Oh.
So I mean there was a big gap between his title reigns and it shows that he's a guy who had the mindset to be able to transition from he knew when he came back that what flew back then in his prime wasn't going to fly again in the mid-90s, and he rolled with it and became the champion, became top heel, feuded with Bret Hart, feuded with Diesel,
wow,
and made it a big deal. So I think I think having him there's going to be extremely beneficial if he does show up and plays that role on TV.
I'll have to wait and see. Well, yeah, I'm really I'm
and
intrigued.
I'm just curious, because it's just fun to see him yell shit.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued as to what type of role he'll play as far as on screen.
Did you catch how old he was?
I did not. I can check it again if you want to talk about Rusev versus Zack Ryder.
Okay, yeah.
The match wasn't very long.
No, it was not a long match. We had Rusev and Zack Ryder. This kind of spawned because they were the final two guys in the Battle Royal. Zack Ryder immediately hits a drop kick right off the bell. Rusev and Zack Ryder fight to the outside very shortly after the beginning of the match. Zack Ryder posts Rusev head first.
Yeah.
Puts a giant egg on his forehead.
Rusev kept checking for blood.
Yeah.
Because he could feel he could feel it there.
Yeah. If you've ever been hit,
I've never been hit that hard.
If you've ever been hit in the head hard enough to create any kind of a raise, it feels like blood. It feels like you're bleeding.
Well, it's got blood flowing to it too.
But I mean, you can almost like I've been hit like on the top of the head by things like that have created raises, but it's like as soon as it hits, it feels like you're bleeding.
That's so weird.
But because you always check and then look and it's it's never there. I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a trippy feeling. Your scalp and face is playing tricks on you. That pissed Rusev off though.
Yeah.
And he gets in the ring. Zack Ryder tries to get in the ring and kicks him a couple times, which collapses Zack Ryder into the ring. And then
he had some really stiff kicks too.
Yeah, and then he finished him off with the accolade very shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
Zack Ryder tippy taps out.
And we did have a sneak attack from Kalisto.
Yeah.
Who ran out and decided just to fuck with Rusev a little bit, like, hey, you can be big and bad, but I'm not afraid of you. By the way, Bob Backlund is 66.
Yeah, 66 years old. The guy still, like, from what I understand, walks to work every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him. So we have another interesting situation in the back where Goldongo are practicing dance moves. Goldust isn't quite getting it. I guess they've been dancing all week long.
Well, Goldust has like two go-to moves, and Fandango's trying to get him into like some like next level Magic Mike shit.
Yeah, he's straight up like bumping and grinding, and Goldust is like, I can't do that. I got bad hips. He's been
stanky legging too long.
Yeah, R-Truth comes in and says, "Hey, Goldie's working.
You dropped your branch.
Goldie's doing the best he can. Just give him a second, all right?" And then Fandango throws out the challenge that Goldongo will take on the Gorgeous Truth next week on SmackDown. Tyler Breeze gave no fucks until that challenge was thrown out, and then all of a sudden he jumps off the box that he's sitting on. He's like, "Yeah, let's do this match." Other than that, Tyler Breeze didn't care. We get this very interesting tag team match next week.
Yeah, I find like in my head now, this is the number one downside to Adam Rose being gone. Because I think it would be fantastic if the social outcasts start making fun of these guys. And then we end up, if they like band together and you get like Golden Truth Dongo, the gorgeous Golden Truth Dongo, or something like that versus the social outcasts. I mean, right there, give them 12 minutes on the pay-per-view pre-show, and you're gonna have gold.
In truth.
Yes.
That's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And Fandango-y.
Yes.
Moving on. We had our main event, which started as Gallows and Anderson taking on the Usos with their...
The Real Brothers versus the Good Brothers.
Yes. With their respective championship title match members in their corner. This was good. I liked just this tag team match. And then Karl Anderson decides he wants to fuck with Roman Reigns. And Roman's checking on Jimmy, who got tossed out of the ring. And he's over there checking, and all of a sudden Karl just like sneaks his boot out between the ropes and face washes Roman. And Roman's like, "You motherfucker." He gets in, starts beating the hell out of Karl Anderson. AJ jumps in, both the Usos jump in. It's just chaos at this point. We got agents, we got referees just trying to break,
security guards,
just breaking stuff. Like this is just out of control. And then AJ decides to throw out the challenge, like, "Hey, we're not done yet. Let's finish what we started right now," which I guess was code for 6-man tag team match.
He hasn't been around in the company long enough to know how to Teddy Long.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just think it's funny that both times we've had very vague things spoken in these AJ segments, but everyone understands what it means.
Yeah.
So yeah, this turned into a 6-man tag team match, which was...
it's like TNA. You might not understand what's going on all the time, but you know it's supposed to be wrestling.
Oh. That's... okay. Makes sense. Yeah, so now we have the 6-man tag team match, pretty much a rematch from Monday night.
Yeah.
Still great match. Lots of really good work once again. Just trying to build up the tension that is this title picture between Roman Reigns and AJ Styles.
Yeah, like, I can't say that the Usos and Reigns and Anderson, Gallows, and Styles have, like, amazing chemistry, but the level of intensity that they bring kind of surpasses the need to have, like, the great chemistry.
Yeah, they don't have, like, grandiose spots or anything. It's just...
Yeah, it
feels like a fight.
Yeah, it to me, it makes me feel like when they had the Shield versus Evolution.
Yeah.
Where I felt like it was like... You had the feeling, like, it looks like these guys actually dislike each other.
Yeah, and they've done a good job of building, since AJ won that number one contender spot, and Gallows and Anderson attacked the Usos during the tag title tournament. It's been a really good gradual build to this obvious. Okay, now both sides have backup, and now it's a group effort to try and take down the other guys, and it's been a really good build, and they're able to really capitalize on that in these matches, even without having just fantastic spots and flying all around, and the regular wrestling we'd expect in matches like that. They don't need it, which is good. It's a breath of fresh air. It's not the same again and again. They're able to step it up, but eventually we have Anderson and Reigns in the ring together. The Usos end up doing a dive to the outside, which takes out Gallows. Styles tries to get in and help Anderson. He actually hits a Superman punch of his own on Roman Reigns, and Anderson tries to take advantage, but Jay actually pulls AJ out of the ring, leaving Anderson by himself. Anderson eventually, despite that awesome spine buster that he has, gets hit with a spear, and the Samoan Dynasty pick up the win, and we end SmackDown with a face-off between AJ and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So, all in all, a pretty solid episode of SmackDown. Some interesting...
The matches were good.
Yes.
Like, that's what I appreciated about this episode of SmackDown.
Even the ones that were short.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly informative episode. It wasn't... there wasn't a lot of build towards anything. It was just more so just hammering the points that we've already made. Yeah, but it was like the matches were good. Yeah, the work I didn't care that the storylines didn't further, because it's good sometimes to step back from having everything be so storyline driven, and go to like, okay, let's just have a couple, we've got some time, why don't we just have a handful of bust-ass matches? Yeah, and they had 3 backstage segments, and then the Darren Young thing. Yeah. And other than that, everything was out in the ring. So, yeah, very appreciative to this episode of SmackDown, but that is it for the SmackDown rundown. Thanks for watching.
Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video.
Share it.
Share it with everybody.
Share it with everyone.
We appreciate the people that have been
Share it
sharing.
with Susan Sarandon. If you know her, I suppose. Tweet it to. I was gonna say Bob Backlund, but I doubt he has a Twitter.
If he does, tweet it to Bob Backlund.
Yeah. Also tweet it to Garth Brooks.
Speaking of Twitter, you can find that down in the description with all the other links to our various social medias.
Our outlets of the media that is social.
Plus, if you're not a video type person, which
No, sometimes you're not.
You know, if this is the one you're catching and you're like, man, I wish I could just listen to these guys. Well, if you go down the links, there is a link to the podcast where you can listen to our videos. Every time a new video goes up, the podcast version goes up as well.
You can download us and play us in your ear hole.
Yeah.
Thanks to SoundCloud.
Or Bluetooth on your phone if you're driving to work. If you want to listen to what happened the night before on some wrestling, do that.
Absolutely.
Be sure to leave a comment on the SoundCloud.
It's a good way to knock out the whole week's worth of videos if you're on a trip.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait till the end of the week.
Yeah, man, yeah.
And listen to Raw, midweek wrap up, and SmackDown rundown all in one go.
Yeah. And then when you get back from whatever you're doing on the weekend, come
News
back,
will be ready.
check out Indie News.
Yeah.
And if you are watching those videos, check out that playlist.
Yeah, we got a couple extras.
Yeah, because if you're listening to the podcast, you don't get that extra content. You won't get our Payback review, which we go a little ranty on some matches, and you won't get Thomas's top 10 for the months of March and April.
Yeah.
So, some extra stuff for you video type people. Speaking of videos, we got some new videos coming up pretty soon. We got a second channel opening within the next week and a half or so.
Yeah.
So, be sure to look for that. Let us know what types of videos you want to see. We're not doing reviews on the new channel.
Not reviews.
We're doing strictly discussion-based, debate-type videos. Some fun little side things.
Everybody has their own shtick going on in this one. He's going to have his own projects. Thomas Wolfe has his own projects. I have my own projects. They're all fairly different from one another.
Yep.
And, we've already got content prepared to go.
Yep.
We're just waiting for the go time. A lot of different topics will be discussed. There will be guest appearances. The fantasy warfare is back. New format, more competitive. There's even a championship now.
Yep.
And yeah, we want your input. What kind of videos do you want to see? Do you want to see more competition stuff between us? What kind of topics do you want people to talk about? Just let us know. Your general input actually helps form what we do.
Yes. And we do appreciate all of those that have been commenting. Those of you that have been sharing the video, liking the video, we appreciate the positive feedback. Thank you for that. That is it for the SmackDown Rundown. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next.
Yep. That's the one.
Yep.
That one, click it. Hurry up.
Yep.
Go.
And Blue Thunder Bomber out.
Fuck Jim Cornette.